I'm Dahlia, and I help professionals with international careers, in case we don't know each other yet. And I am here in Vienna, where I've just given day 1 of my workshop for young professionals as part of the EACA, so that's the European Association of Communications Agencies, and they're putting on a summer school for advertisers, and they do that every summer. So this summer they invited me to come in and to talk to young professionals about productivity and time management for success, for career advancement. So before we go any further, can you hear me? Is the sound working? Please let me know. I hope so. I'll just keep going. If the sound's not working, then just let me know, because otherwise there is no point in me talking to myself. So I just gave this workshop, and a number of you have been saying that it's one of your goals to become a speaker. So to be recognized as an expert in your field, and you've said that you would love to get paid to travel to various locations and to share your value with people, to share the messages that you have to offer. And I know that there are a number of reasons to want to do this. A lot of them are also part of my reasons. So one thing is that it does look really good in terms of your reputation. So it's a great thing to be able to add to your CV, to your LinkedIn, to be able to tell people about. And often speaking is something that makes you known as an expert. So it makes you seen as an industry leader, and it makes you seen as someone who knows what they're talking about. And it does make you either more hireable or more likely to land additional opportunities. So it's great for that. The other reason a lot of people want to go into speaking is the kind of excitement of it. So I know when I went to my first conference, I think it was a sort of a journalism conference. Well, I went to some conferences before that, but I remember as I went to these conferences, I went to some of these Model UN conferences, and I went to some journalism conferences and some others as well. And every time I would go, I just got so much energy. And part of that was because of all of the new ideas I was getting. So usually the idea when you go to a conference or a workshop or an event is you should be getting information that is very new, so very sort of industry leading ideas, what's happening right now, what is the future what is coming up in the future for this industry. So it really makes you feel that you're at the forefront of everything that's happening and that you can be a part of innovation within your field. So it's really exciting that way. And usually you also get to hear from really great experts who really know what they're talking about. So you always come out of these things with all of these ideas, or at least you should if it's a good event. Oh, hi BA. Can you let me know if the sound is working now, please? I don't think it was working a minute ago, so please let me know. And then the other reason that people like to speak at events, so besides the idea sharing and all of that, is also the people you meet. So these events usually tend to attract people who do want to be at the forefront of their work, of their industry. They're there to learn, they're there to share, and you can meet some amazing professionals. And for those of you who are working right now, you might have some great people you're working with in your office, but it's the same people generally day in, day out. And it's so important to get exposed to other professionals also working on similar topics, sometimes similar topics but different, so in a way related, and it just gives you that totally fresh perspective because they might be from different countries working on the same thing or working in a different field but on something related, and you can just come out of that with so much fresh perspective. But the great thing about being on the speaker side as opposed to just the participant side is that you get known as one of those experts as well, and you can also get known as someone to know. So you're there, you have better access to the other speakers because you're also a speaker, so people have that additional respect for you, and it's a really great networking opportunity to be able to get to know some really amazing people, amazing speakers. So Ahmed is saying sound is working well. Yes, thank you, Ahmed. But he says, can you tell me what you're talking about? So that's always good to know. I'm talking about how to get speaking engagements. So I'm talking about how you can get these kinds of speaking gigs, so where you want to get known as an expert, where you're speaking either at an event, at a conference, where you are getting paid to talk, to teach people, to share your ideas. So that's what I'm talking about. Let me know if that makes sense. Yeah. So a lot of people would like to have this. They think it would be great, but the big problem is how to get invited to actually be a speaker. That seems like something that is so far away for most people because they think, well, I need to be an expert before I can talk to people. Who am I to say anything? What do I know more than the people I'm going to present to? And it brings a lot of issues into play, including lack of experience, including lack of confidence. Some people will say, well, I'm confident, but I just don't have the right experience, or I don't have the right ideas to share, or I just don't have the right contacts. If only I knew the right people, I would get invited. And there are so many different factors that stop people from getting these kinds of opportunities. So, the secret to getting them, I have found, because, you know, I went out, I've gotten a couple of speaking opportunities lately, and my motivations were for all these reasons I just mentioned. I mean, I love going to these conferences, I love meeting the people. It was kind of a next goal for myself to become a speaker, just because I hadn't really done that before. I'd been more of a participant in more cases, so I thought, you know, instead of always being a participant, I should actually go out there and share what I have to say as well. And another one of the reasons I decided to do this was for my clients. So I like to take my own career as a kind of experiment to see, to really to test out my own methods. So I have all these methods, I know that they work, but I like to keep challenging myself to keep using them. And also I use them with my clients so that I really keep seeing what is working right now. Because sometimes what worked yesterday isn't what's going to work tomorrow. So I like to keep my career fresh, I like to keep testing out my own strategies, and I love to see them working for me as well as for others so that I always know what is working right now today. So I thought I would challenge myself and go out there and get a speaking gig with some people who, you know, I'm not related to in terms of my current network. So they're not anything related to the previous contracts that I've had. I've done a bit of speaking or a bit of training for the last organization that I worked for, but it was all part of my job, right? So it was like I had my job, I was working in it, and then I had to talk to some doctors about their communication issues. So all the doctors came together, I spoke to them about communication. That I have done a few times, but I didn't have to really go out there and get that opportunity myself. It was kind of given to me through my work, which is great. But what if your work isn't giving you those opportunities? Or what if you want to go off on your own and be your own agent, a consultant, where you get different opportunities in different locations and not necessarily all with the same organization? Then you need to take matters into your own hands and you need to have your own strategy. So I decided to try that out, and you know, I've had the experiences that I've had in my own career, but I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could get opportunities in a totally different field. And so I did. But the key thing here and the key learning is that you don't need to hold yourself back by thinking that you need more experience, or that you need to be older, or that you need more contacts before you can start to speak. And I think this is the problem for most people. There's this big myth that in order to be recognized as an expert, you need lots and lots of time. And it's a really big myth because not everyone who's old is successful and is known as an expert. Not everyone is. Actually, few people are. And when the people who are recognized as experts, it didn't happen because they're old. It happened because they went out there and they started getting this experience. They started challenging themselves. And the other thing these days is that we're still caught in this myth that the more time you put into something, the more of an expert you become. But it doesn't work like that, especially today. Maybe in the past that was more the case, but these days the world is moving so fast. Technology is moving fast. Industries are moving so fast that if you've spent the last 10 years on one thing, doing the same thing all the time, in 10 years, you're not going to be an expert. You're going to be outdated. So I hope you're not still doing the same thing in 10 years' time, because you're just going to not really be that valuable to your industry and to society anymore. So really, you need to decide whatever it is that you're doing, that you want to be bringing valuable right now, and you want to be your own expert right now. And you need to stop comparing yourselves to the other people who are out there, because they're irrelevant. You just need to make sure that what you're delivering is valuable, and then you don't need to worry about whether you are the best expert out there compared to all these other people. You just need to focus on what you need to deliver, who you need to deliver it to, what is the message that is going to help those people, and then you deliver it to them. Because at the end of the day, inspiring people, being an expert, delivering value actually has nothing to do with you. It just has to do with the people who you're helping. Because a good workshop, a good training, or when you go to a conference where you're listening to a great speaker, it's not about the speaker, it's about what the impact that they're making on you, right? So a speaker who goes on and on and on and nobody is connecting with them, there's no point. You're not going to walk out of that conference saying, wow, that was a great speaker, if you didn't connect to them. So you need to focus on the people you're speaking to and the value that you want to offer, not on yourself and all of these excuses that you have that you think are reasons why you can't speak. And so now I know what you're thinking. You're saying, well, that's nice, Dahlia, but I still can't get those opportunities. I would love to go out there and prove my value and help people, but nobody's giving those opportunities to me. I still don't have the experience, right? So you want to be really careful about getting stuck into that cycle of needing experience to get experience. So what happens when we're trying to apply for a job where we say, no one will give me the opportunity because I don't have experience, but I can't get the experience because no one will give me the job. So that cycle, and it happens for finding a job just like it happens for being a speaker. So no one will give me a speaking arrangement because I haven't been a speaker in the past, but then how will I get that speaking experience if they don't give me the opportunity? But it's also an excuse. You need to cast that aside. No one had job experience before getting their first job, and nobody had speaking experience before they started speaking. So you need to realize that it's just an excuse. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy necessarily, although it's not always as hard as you would think. It just means that you need to forget about excuses and find yourself a strategy. Now, unfortunately, I can't give you guys a specific strategy because it's different for everyone. It really depends what you want to speak about. It depends on your prior experience. Just because you don't have experience doesn't mean we can't have something to work with, but we do need to see where you're coming from, what you're offering, and then we can create a plan together. And so this is what we do in the Accelerate Your Ambitions program. So if speaking is one of your goals, if that is something that's going to further your career and it's something that you want to do, oh, hi Morgan, how are you? We're just talking about speaking and how you can become a speaker. So if speaking is something that you really want to do and something that's a really worthwhile next step for you, that's where when we're doing your goal setting, your road mapping, we're going to set that as a goal, and I'm going to give you all of the tactics specific to you so that you're able to make that happen. And this can happen really quickly. Once you have the right steps and you know what steps to follow to be able to get those speaking arrangements, it can happen very fast. But you do need to have those tactics that are specific to your own goal. And the other thing you need to have to be able to implement those tactics, so to be able to go out, get those speaking gigs, is you need to go through getting clear on your value. So that's also one of the missions in the program. You get very clear on the value that you have to offer to clients and to the world. And once you're clear on that and you understand how to communicate that, you're gonna have such a powerful way of describing what you have to offer that people will take you on board as a speaker. And only then, once we have those tactics, once we have your value clear, then we can start building your contact base so that you have the right contacts who will be able to bring you in. And there's also a special approach that we take to be able to do that so that we don't seem like we're a nobody just knocking on people's doors trying to get a speaking gig when we have nothing behind us to really prove what we've got. So these are all the steps you need to take and I wouldn't be able to tell all of you exactly what to do without speaking to you individually. But what I will say, the biggest thing that is holding everyone back who wants to do this, who is not doing it yet, is all of these excuses. So the not having experience, the not being known yet, not having the contacts, all of that kind of stuff you need to throw out, and you need to get yourself the strategy and follow the strategy. So any questions about that, you guys? You can always put them into the comment box and then I will try to answer them. So yeah, it's great to have you here, and I'm really happy to chat some more about how to get speaking arrangements or other kinds of opportunities that you guys are after, or let me know if you want me to run any more experiments on my own career, like getting the speaking gigs to see how they work. And I'm really excited for you guys to be leaders in your industries and not fighting to get those opportunities, but instead have those opportunities be coming to you so that you'll be the industry leaders, you'll be at the forefront of things, and people can fight to have you sharing your ideas rather than you fighting with these people who seem like your superiors. And you can stop seeing other people getting all the opportunities, and you can be the one who's getting them. And that way you can deliver your value to the world, you can make an impact, you can make your contribution, and make the world a better place. So feel free to ask me any other questions in the comments. And as always, lovely speaking to you. And if you do want to get a speaking gig or that kind of opportunity, then do send me a message. We can arrange a career roadmap session together, which is free, to see if I'm able to help you. And then if you're approved into the program, that is where we will strategize together and we'll create your step-by-step plan to be able to getting opportunities to come to you. And it's going to come down to knowing your value, having that game plan, knowing how to make those contacts, and knowing how to communicate what you are worth. So I'm really excited for you guys to come into the program and to be getting these strategies for yourself and really moving forward in your careers, because it's really frustrating to see other people getting opportunities while you're feeling stuck and like you're not feeling on top of the world. I want all of you to feel like you're on top of the world, you're capable of anything you want to do, because you have those tools and you have the strategies and you have the support you need to get there. And most of all, you're very clear on your value and how to deliver that value. So you guys, lovely speaking to you. Send me a message if you're interested in hopping on a career roadmap session together and we will discuss. And meanwhile, let me know in the comments, is speaking something that is part of your goals? And if so, what is the status on that? What's stopping you from doing it? All right, lovely to speak with you as always, and have a good rest of the day. Bye guys.